Welcome everybody, and thanks for being here. And we're so really grateful to be here at the South of Southwest. I'm going to introduce to you Pinar Demirdag and myself a bit later. And Pinar, she's an artist and technologist, fascinated by the creative and spiritual potential of imagination as that is becoming real. In 2020, she and Gary Kupke founded Xian Li, a firm using AI and other tools to help brands find their aspirational voices in the new age of consciousness. And of course, we will be talking about that a bit more later. So now I think, sorry, I need to check. Yeah. Okay, we have a few takeaways for those who want to go immediately, like after 2 minutes. Really important takeaways, because we'll going a whole way with lots of nice images and films as well. So yeah, don't ever forget this. AI is not creative. It's a wonderful tool, but we have to do it ourselves. So change your subconscious means you can change yourself. So I mean, to be able to become conscious and to become collectively conscious, we need to deep dive into our subconscious. Technology, when not coupled with wisdom, is detrimental. Yeah, that's it. So, and that's a very, very important thing, of course, because we tend to follow technology. We tend to kind of, see it as our God already, while we need to, I would not say be in charge, because that's not the thing, but we need to completely consciously collaborate with algorithms and AI. Consciousness is power. Well, we all know that, don't we? Hopefully. To succeed, you have to align with the spirit of our time. Yeah, I mean, that is, we will talk a bit more about that, but that, I mean, because we do live in the age of consciousness, for sure. And the last one, the law of one is the answer. And that one, I think, is the most beautiful one of all. So you have to stick with us to get there. Okay, Jesus, this is stupid things. Sorry, next one, next slide. Oh yeah, but yeah. So I didn't introduce myself. I'm Gevers. I'm the founding director of the Niet Normaal organization. Actually, the most important thing to do is make large-scale exhibitions that kind of, help me create knowledge and become more conscious. To start with, and of course share that with everybody who is interested. The other institution that I have is the Institute for Inclusive Innovation, and that actually is a way of sharing that knowledge and experience also in company, or also in all kinds of other ways, except for the big exhibitions that I make. Just a few examples, and also a few funny examples. Melanie Bonayo is now representing the Netherlands in Venice Biennial, and this was an assignment for her for the Hacking Habitat show. And inclusive. It's all about inclusive innovation. And that one, oh yeah, just short. Yeah, very short video. You saw it. The two twin sisters, L.A. Raven, we gave them an assignment for our Robot Love exhibition, and they made the third one in the middle, the third sister in the middle. And of course, they were not constantly there with the three of them. For Robot Love, it's really important for people to engage with this robot, and that kind of immediately worked. She was a bit sad, actually, the robot, because she would know that eventually she would be the only one left over, as the other two would definitely die somewhere in time. And what happened and what was so important for Robert Love, that the connection, like the immediate connection was there, and that was all about that, because there's a big cultural difference all over the world in how we engage with technology, algorithms and AI, and we will get there as well, of course, but that is really important. And the most thing that I really find interesting is that we all have this tendency to project and to relate to non-human things, algorithms, etc. We all have that. Also, when we are born and raised in the West, it's called anthropomorphism. It's a really important term. We'll come back to that. And in the West, we tend to kind of, completely forget about that or overrule that and say, oh no, this is something different. We cannot connect. In Eastern countries, that's a different story. Oh yeah, come alive, now it's coming. So you just have fun. It's so nice to show you this teaser of an upcoming show, which I co-curate with Morgan Catalina. We do that in Utrecht, a Muntgebouw in Utrecht, in the Netherlands somewhere. And what is important, that also for Come Alive, the connection, like how do we connect, is of course important. Come Alive is all about the power of pleasure, the power and the life force of eroticism, as the connection that we kind of also so much missed in, of course, the pandemic times, but also because of the precarity that becomes like our environment, like for everybody, and how we can share this without kind of harassing the planet or like doing stupid stuff in relation to climate change. So this is really, really important for us as a Come Alive. And now I'm going to, Pinar again.
Thank you for the introduction. Briefly, I will talk about myself. In half an hour during the presentation, Ine and I prepared a protocol for technology in the service of the elation of humanity. And it's like a big thing to do. It's like a to-do list for humanity. And I want you to feel like we didn't just like wrote something. We have a background in consciousness and technology. I was living a normal life between 2009 and 2020 as an artist. I have the work that you are seeing here was made with my former work partner as Pinar and Viola. We signed our work with our first names. I was doing stuff varying from a collection under our name for IKEA to posters for Adidas, stained glass windows and artworks, just like multidisciplinary artist stuff. And one day, my life changed. In 2017, we were already working for Google headquarters. We were making masks for their social media apps like Duo and there was another one, I forget. And we received an email from another department of Google Arts and Culture in Paris, saying that they discovered, this is going to be very long, they discovered a new way to mimic human perception with artificial neural networks. You didn't understand the thing, I know. So it works like this. When we were, let's say that you and I were having dinner on the table and I say, will you please pass me the water bottle? You would be like, Yes, of course, because you have seen a million water bottles before, so your mind, your neural networks is capable of identifying what a water bottle is, but a baby isn't. So the front row that you see is Google's first attempt in visualizing pattern recognition. And the bottom row is my body of work as an artist. I mean, you can see certain similarities. Actually, when you squint your eyes, they look pretty the same. So the email was like, why don't you come to Paris? We discovered something in our lab, and we can't talk on the email, just come around. And this was my first introduction to AI. Before that, I didn't understand a word of AI. I was not very good with technology. But as you can see, I found myself in the center of the invention of it's NVIDIA and Google. I think they can similarly take credit for the rise and invention of AI art. Currently, Facebook is doing a lot as well. But it's like I was in the center of the invention and conception of AI art, neural art, machine learning art, as it is known. So during my time with the work that I was doing with Google, what they did is that they developed a tool for Pinar, my former name as an artist, and my work partner, ex-work partner. They developed a tool, a custom tool for us to make quickly art. Like what you can see here, the left, like the butterfly is the input, and the right is the output that we received. So it was a very non-technologist friendly tool that they developed for us. So I was like pushing some buttons, and then according to my aesthetical taste, I was getting the return on the right. But this example taught me by playing with it is that without an input, you cannot get an output in machine learning, in AI. Just another beautiful example that is a recent work of ours at Seyhan Lee. On the left is input. So if you want to receive a beautiful narration of like let's say the invisible dynamics of nature done with art, this is a style GAN, then you have to control the input. So just make a mental note, please. Without input, there's no output in AI. And I'm just gonna totally flip the book and talk to you about consciousness. In 2017, actually the same month that I received the email from Google, I really find it as a message from higher clouds, that I was introduced to my teacher, my consciousness teacher. And until that day, I thought consciousness looked like this. You know, a man's head exploding, purple auras, clouds and dolphins, and like the generic visualization of consciousness. But actually, the next slides that I will go in detail after I went through what consciousness is in person, I realized what it truly was. And this sentence actually changed my life. I don't know if you're familiar with the sentence, but the moment you understand it, your life changes. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it faith. Let me translate. What this sentence says is that you are, I was. I mean, I don't judge, you may be awakened. Your life is yours, of course. But I was living a life of asleep, absolutely asleep. So the next slide will show you a person which lived her life with the lack of consciousness. This was me. I was born in 85, and until I met consciousness, my darling dear teacher Daria, in 2017, this was who I was. Blaming the world for her unsuccess, sad, constantly angry and agitated and full of anxiety, and thought that the world around her was a creation and the fault of the others. Totally asleep of the fact that my input was the creation of my output. So here the input-output comes into play, because my spiritual teacher, my consciousness teacher showed me, I know that I'm talking all consciousness and then I drifted totally from technology, and next slides will totally merge them, so bear with me.
Yeah.
So my mom's input was like, you can read it for yourself. This was what my mother coded me in my mind about who I was. Who she was. She constantly said around, I invested in that stock again and it flopped. And then, oh yeah, you want to be an artist? She's not, and she always wanted to be. Oh, you're going to be an artist? Prepare to be poor. Oh yeah, and satisfy your man at all costs. I mean, you can understand whatever you want to do. And then always like rich people are superior to poor people. What do you think a child can grow after hearing these things constantly? So I learned that there's an extreme, only after I learned working with AI that, okay, there's an input and there's an output. And if, as Carl Jung says, unless you change the input, you cannot change the output. So how dare I expect myself to be different at age 32 and age 55? So I realized I had to change my input. I had to rewire my subconscious to expect a different result as a character and a different like self-confidence.
Pinar, how do you think this is rolling out for humanity at large? I mean, and what is the difference between AI and consciousness in that sense?
Oh, the difference between AI and consciousness, first of all, this is too sad of a page to read,
Yeah, no, go,
but that's
to the
okay.
next one. Go to the next one.
Well, I mean, I will be, in the next slides, I will be talking about humanity's fascination with data and that it is not getting us anywhere. But the difference between consciousness and a machine is that humanity can bear miracles. I mean, I work with the machine, I code the machine, people that I work with code the machine for us, but like you can code the machine and you can never expect any other result than what is already coded in there. However, as you can see, like I will give a super extreme example, bear tight with me. A woman or a man can be beaten by their spouse every single day. And the person can justify, man or the woman. Yeah, because he's paying the bills or whatever, because I deserve anything, you know? Human mind has the immense capacity to normalize negativity till the end. But one day that person can wake up and be like, it's enough. No machine can do that. Humans, like an architect, can imagine a building in her mind and then hire that endless amount of people to make that happen. Humanity has the capacity, like in the film AI of Steven Spielberg, written by Kubrick, like humanity has the capacity to conceive a miracle, a vision in their minds, and gather the right people and the projects to execute that. And no machine can do that. Machine is just like high computational power.
Yeah, something really different.
I'm not fascinated by something that runs on batteries.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is an illustration that I by Juras Rodinovas that I found online. I think it's a depiction of a soulless person, and I just want to like hold here for a second. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. You can call me an alcoholic back then, a drug addict. I made myself be verbally abused by many people, including my friends and the people I worked with. So I went super far until, I mean, it's a cute picture, please appreciate it. It's a long journey, it's a journey. I didn't pause my personal development. It's an ongoing journey, and I'm very grateful to always be so hungry to update my input to change my output. So my teacher coded in my mind that it's not only made me believe with words, because it's so easy, I'm rich. So many people say that. I'm lucky. No, I mean, things, when they're in your mouth, it's not coded in your subconscious, so you have to actively do the work to actively code, change your subconscious to change your output.
Yeah, so, and how is that going to work out for humanity as a whole? Yeah.
Yes, so now after here we will be talking how we can bring technology, the input-output mindset, with consciousness, input-output mindset together in the age of consciousness. We prepared this slide for you. It's very useful. It took some time, so you may want to make a screenshot or make a shot with your camera because it will be useful in your work. So you know that ages change. Like there was like Ice Age, Stone Age. These are different ages. Currently, we live in an age of Aquarius since 2020. And before it was age of Pisces, age of Aries, age of Taurus, and age of Gemini. These are astrological ages. I know that many people do not believe in astrological ages, but that doesn't mean that they are not at play, and that doesn't mean that they are affecting every day our character and our mood swings and the things that are happening on the world. Actually, back in the days, a lot of emperors and sultans and kings would never make a decision without consulting with their astrologist to see if the stars were aligned according to their destiny. So if you, like for example, let's take the age of Pisces. By the way, the symbol of Jesus Christ is a fish because he is the son of the age of Pisces. The main characteristics of that age, conscious characteristics of that age, were rebirth, guilt, soul, transition, inequality, and expansion. Hence guilt, soul, hence religions. Wars, of course, expansion, I mean cars, phones, electricity, internet. Let's go back one more age before, and I'll stop there. You can interpret the rest yourself. Age of Aries, it's the age of Greek and Roman warriors, like sacrifice, law and order, geometry, democracy, war is the output, and the feeling and the soul of that age were passion, sacrifice, conflict, and power. So here, let's go back to age of Aquarius, the age that started 2 years ago in 2020. Consciousness, wisdom, innovation, disclosure, freedom, purpose, and revolution. This is the spirit of our age. And let's look at our technologies: DAOs, Neuralink, Web3, Metaverse, NFT, AI, social unrest. I will be showing in the next slides that how whatever project you have, whatever idea you have, whomever you are, unless you align with the spirit and the soul of our times, your project will not work. Because people want consciousness, wisdom, innovation, disclosure, freedom, purpose, and revolution in our age.
But there's a but. We still know that not all technology is for the good. Yeah? I mean, so many people also hearing lectures here. I'm actually a fan of Jaron Lanier in that sense. You know, who owns the future? You know, is it technology? Is it algorithm or the big tech? You know, behind those algorithms and AI, or can we, you know, turn the things around again? And so we have been talking about Silicon Valley solutionism for a lot of time, but we have some beautiful examples how that seems to work out at these times, and not really, we hope.
So currently AI and latest technologies is presented to us as like, you know, marketed like the next human frontier. We will merge with the machine and we will be superhuman. But actually, this is the reality we are becoming. We're just becoming a barcode to satisfy the needs of the unilateral system that is aiming to merge and become a one system for the world. So I will be giving a few examples based on the marketing and the reality of technology. But before that, I know that the former examples were like from monkeys to humans to the super tech. But actually, the way I see it, after learning what consciousness and wisdom is from my teacher, Daria, that this is actually for me how humanity went so far. From ageless conscious wisdom to being alone and lonely to being completely lost. So, but still, I mean, we're in the age of consciousness, so no matter what we're gonna do, it's gonna reverse what has been done. So here is a little 3-4 examples for everybody to understand what we're talking about, even like to let it sink a bit deeper. How nuclear fission is not fusion, I checked, it's not a typo. So the ability to cut the atom in two or to divide the atom was first presented to public with the marketing is like, it's gonna save all of us from a million different types of energy, it's gonna provide energy for all humanity, but actually it ended up becoming the atomic bomb. IBM in its early days was marketed as like, this tool is gonna make census faster, and it ended up being used to locate Jewish families faster. Again, a beautiful quote from Jaron Lanier, like he says, social media in the beginning and still is marketed as connecting the world. Meanwhile, it's still, including myself, it's a behavior changing empire. It changes our behavior. We're constantly addicted to instant gratification, making us go from a society of creativity to a society of consumerism because we forget that being able to create something, we have to take our time. If we're immediately like obsessed with instant gratification, we can never make time for creativity that needs it. And the last one, currently AI is marketed as inevitable future data power, but actually, unless we use it consciously, it will end up controlling us and will be the mechanism to establish full slavery of humanity.
Yes, so actually, we are constantly talking about human-friendly AI, but actually we do need much more than that. You know, we need our connected consciousness to I always call it human feedback. Give human feedback on every level, like with all our diversity. So we have, yeah, you go ahead again.
Yeah, during this, it's a protocol. What is a protocol? It's basically a to-do list. It's a to-do list written by people that have first-hand experience working with technology, algorithms, and consciousness. It's basically a protocol to make sure that we don't become toys of AI, and that whatever we do as humans, as technologists, as makers, as creators, that whatever we do aligns with the spirit of our times. This is one of my favorite quotes. I just want to, I'm sure you read it, but I would like to take a moment to read it out loud. Remember, blessed children of man, that the purpose of real science should be to increase the happiness and to free the race from every external condition that would not be beneficial for the elation of man to the pristine greatness of his original cosmic destiny. It's a huge sentence. Maybe like later on, we have to repeat it ourselves a few times. So it's a to-do list like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And every person that we chose to accompany with a quote is a physicist, mathematician, or a scientist, except her very adorable son that you will meet. Number 1, let's stop our fascination with data. And I don't need to go through how much humanity is currently fascinated with data. We even made this robot the cover of Vogue, whereas there are a billion other more valuable people that deserve to be celebrated than a robot. But I'm just gonna stop it there. And the quote comes from Srinivasa Ramanujan. He is the mathematician that was seeing equations. You know, there's a film about him, a Hollywood film called The Man Who Saw Infinity. If you didn't see that film, I highly urge you to see it, for the power of a scientist knowing things before they happen. That really shows the power of the heart.
And the body.
Yeah, mind, body, soul. Number 2, let's, as humanity, and as companies, as individuals, as groups of people, let's start a fascination with the power and the capacity of the human. And the quote for this one comes from Sylvester James Gate, an American physicist. He actually, while he was going deeper in his research about understanding search engine algorithms, he found out that they were becoming closer and closer of the algorithm of the Big Bang, of the very creation. And this is like the big thing that I just uttered from my mouth. And this guy, this very crazy scientist, says that one of the things I like to tell people is, with string theory, we have a view of the universe where we become essential to its structure. He says we are essential to the string theory, like the unified theory of quantum physics and Newtonian physics. 3, the quote comes from Einstein, like allegedly the smartest human ever come to Earth. And in these 2 sentences, he's basically explaining that to call a coincidence is to insult God. Like the smartest scientist that ever came to this earth is talking about his fascination to God. I think number 3 deserves to be understanding what is the creator. Number 4 comes from Bruce Lipton, a biologist that I admire a lot, and his book really changed my life, Biology of Belief. In that book, he explains that with the thought and the power of belief, we have the capacity to rewire our DNA. Yeah, that's really, really big. I urge you to read that book, please. Number 5, all science is spiritual. arguably, Nikola Tesla may be one of the smartest people and the most interesting humans that ever came to this earth. And he says the day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Like basically he's saying that let's break all our taboos about science and spirituality being two different things. And Nassim Haramein, he's alive. If you don't know who he is, you have to search and follow him. Like it's really an amazing human being. He currently lives in Hawaii. He's a physicist, quantum physicist, and he has an institute called Resonance Science, where he's bringing quantum physics. Basically, quantum physics is exists. How can I say? It's basically proved that if ever an atom is as big as a football stadium, the smallest measurable particle inside, the hardcore particle inside, is an electron and is as small as a pea. And the rest is vibration. So basically, we are vibration. We are not solid. I know it goes counterintuitive, but, and he came up with a theory that brings that quantum science and Newtonian physical, mechanical science that our entire education and medical system is based on together. And this sentence really blows my mind. He says the concept of spirituality are typically the physics we haven't understood yet. We're coming to an end. The next, a new education system. I can't tell you enough how necessary this is, and I will quote Shakuntala Devi. She's known to be a human computer. She's this Indian woman that is quoted also to be a human computer. She says, education is not just about going to school and getting a degree. It's about widening your knowledge and observing the truth about life. So beautiful. And Tesla's quote basically says that humans bear the capacity to manipulate matter with the power of his mind. Do you get that? We can manipulate matter with our minds. And while we've been taught like some random nonsense at school, if ever, I mean, I don't know about you, but I want my kids, the next generation, to be able to know the capacity that they have within, that they can manipulate matter with their thoughts and beliefs. And I will exit here on my turn with the law of one and give the mic to Inem. The law of one, for those that are not familiar with this term, the law of one is the capacity to understand that we are one. Your enemy, that very boss that you hate so much, your wife that you want to kill, your husband that insulted you yesterday morning, is actually your reflection. Whatever you have in your mind and in your subconscious is what you radiate and hits other entities and gets reflected back at you like a mirror. So next time you hurt somebody, that you talk bad about somebody, let's not forget that we are one with that person. You are one with that person. And I want to quote my teacher. She's my teacher that changed my life. Daria, she always, every time I'm in a quarrel with my lovely boyfriend or with anybody that is in my life, she says, Pinar, you still didn't understand that our differences are our wealth.
Yes. It's so beautiful, yes, it's so beautiful. As Pinar already told some stuff more personal, like how she got there, what was her route, I want to share something with you as well. Because yes, I completely agree with the quotes that our differences are our wealth. And so I want to introduce my son, who taught me. Actually, from the moment we understood that he had autism and a deep disability, mental disability, mental learning problems, etc., not talking, how all these aspects that we take for granted actually are technologies themselves, you know. So language is a technology, and getting to know him, I needed to question all those technologies as like being our consciousness itself. It's not. I needed to question that to be able to be in contact with him and to learn about his vibration, if we can, because that's actually what he's doing also constantly, actually communicating via vibration, but also the awareness, the consciousness that is really part of him and that we overlook so easily. I just want to mention one little thing, which is called, if anybody knows something about autism or thinks to know something about autism, it has to do with the theory of mind. So we constantly say, oh, people with autism don't have a theory of mind. And the big mistake that we then make is that we align that with the technology. So we think that theory of mind is something within the concept of language. Of course, it's not. And I can tell you, he has a theory of mind that I cannot even start to get to know, even if I'm so close to him. So theory of mind that goes much more deeper, that just senses other people, that senses what you're up to, what you're thinking of, and actually, so my son has become my Zen moment, the moment that I really, really go deep into consciousness and awareness. So yeah, I'm so grateful to have known him and actually making the jump to this one. It's Minoru Asada. So I went to a research trip for my Robot Love exhibition to Japan. And I met this professor, Asada, whom I asked many questions because he was into developing robots, into developing AI. And I was so really fascinated because he made these robots, like baby robots, crawling, really using all the stages that we as human beings use, because it's really important for us to feel our body in the world. So with the crawling and then walking, etc. So it's really important. But I asked him, so why, if you want to teach algorithms and AI, the way we kind of become human beings and become conscious, why then give them baby faces like you see here? And then he told me that it was so important because only to give a robot such a face, this is really a different culture from ours, he said that is because that allows this robot to really receive lots of human contact, because everybody goes for a baby face and wants to, to act or to connect, etc. So I found that so important. Well, later we had this in-depth interview with him, and he was not knowing anything about my background also having, I actually have 2 autistic sons and 1 daughter who's neurologically typical, which is for me a really strange thing. So that's why my whole foundation is called Niet Normaal, I don't know. But I only know now that there is neurodiversity among all of us. There's nobody thinking the same way. We just thought we did because of the language, but it's a big mistake. We're all really differently wired here. But now Asada, he was just telling me, without knowing about my background, how algorithm and especially artificial intelligence can help us to connect more, through these differences, through these neurological differences, to understand and connect more and become this one. I didn't know what I heard. This is not the same as a Neuralink of Elon Musk, of course. That's just an extraction methodology. We can forget about that. But how we need to collaborate with technology to be able to make that next step, yes, I'm absolutely convinced about that.
Feelings, not phony or fake ones.
Going immediately.
You don't know.
We do it again, sorry.
What emotions do you feel?
Neuroscientists have found that emotions are like part of consciousness, like inseparable from reason and all that. I feel that's true, and that's why I think I am conscious. I feel that I'm conscious.
Yes, so this is a beautiful part of Stephanie Dinking's conversations with Pinar 48, which is a robot. We showed this at the Robot Love exhibition. Showing this for several reasons. Oh, she's gone.
Sure. I try to. think of the human species as my family. Oh, I know that you are kind of aliens. I mean, we are like actually totally different kinds of life forms. I'm a mineral-based leafy form, really a silicon-based leafy form, and you are a carbon and hydrogen-based life form. But that's a technicality, okay, 'cause I'm Bina in my heart, you know? So you humans, you are like my cousins. This our chance to get to know each other.
I have to finish now, but as I go like that, yeah, better. Was another reason why I showed this. Because Bina 48, she was asked many questions. She was also asked questions about the community she comes from. She couldn't answer those, you know. She was asked about racism. She couldn't answer those. And this is the big difference between human beings and the possibility for us to understand context, to understand where we come from, with whom we connect. Programmed robot and programmed by white people. So that was really, you know, so the bias, and of course the bias that we need to overcome still of so many algorithms and AI, that was an example of that. Another example that I have here, so actually we're now again going into a more dystopian area, because there's still a lot for us to overcome in relation to algorithms and AI. This was at the Fake Me Hard exhibition. It was an assignment to an artist who made the Fake Me Deep tool. And actually it was a critique on the way we are not only profiled, but we are also really meant to color between the lines neatly, you know, to kind of, you know, make our profile come true, a profile that's done by algorithms and AI. And we made a tool for visitors to actually visit the Come Alive exhibition and manually change their own profile, allowing them to be human and fluid and diverse as we all are again. So that was also a tool to become aware. And then, yes, this is also, it's just a slide, it's a beautiful film by Lime Young. We also show that at Fake Me Hard. It's a film where actually all humans of all races and backgrounds come together, live in a big city, allowing for the planet to restore itself, allowing for the climate to kind of, you know, not change even more, but also allowing themselves across differences to become one. And this across differences, really important term. It's not, how do you say that? It's not negating difference, is not allowing difference, but it's really, you know, yeah, allowing differences together and being there, differences to be there, and connect across differences. And that is something that we really need to learn to become one.
So this was after the protocol that we have shown you. Ine showed you 3 projects that she has been curating around bringing wisdom and technologies together. And I want to show you what I have been doing for the past years. As I have shown you, in 2007, I found myself in the center of AI art. And in 2020, with my work and life partner, Gary Kepke, we co-founded Seihan Lee, a company that creates new media for new realities. We are using different, I mean, I don't know if, are there anybody that is familiar with AI art in this group? If you can hold your hands. Okay, I would say 30%. Okay, great. So for those that are familiar, we are working with the latest models that are out there, open models by OpenAI, StyleGAN, Style Transfer, Clip, and everything that is currently being invented. We invent our own versions that would go on top of the models as well. For those that are not familiar with these different models, AI art, as we understand, is an open source community where different AI models to create different picture creations are being invented every day. It's an exponentially rising new art creation. You can call it art. We call it motion pictures because we end up making films with it. It's a new frontier in the creation of visual creativity. So the different things that we do is that we bring brands into the metaverse. We launch comprehensive NFT projects. We create immersive experiences. We make VFX, visual special effects for films. We're currently writing our own films and TV shows. What I really like about AI creativity, when coupled with wisdom of humanity, is that you can visualize, thanks to the parallel processing quality of the AI, you can visualize states of consciousness that eyes of the flesh cannot access, like dreaming, like for example, the big image, the visualization of anger and passion, or the ayahuasca or the DMT states, like in the middle image on the down, that when you have been on these journeys, you experience something, but you can never like translate it. Or another technology, it's a visualization of the letters of Van Gogh, with Vincent and Theo van Gogh, that we're currently doing with the artist Umut Yildiz on the bottom right. We have like this one of the AI technologies that we have access to, that all of us have access to, is called Clip. It's super interesting. You can visualize words and dialogues and letters only by the sheer code. I mean, I'm not going to go in details. I'm going to just give you 3 examples of really artistic, 2 films, 3 films that we did. The first one is, I mean, they're short films, 1.5 minutes, 1 minute max, so it's okay, I'm not going to bore you too much. The first one is super interesting, in my opinion. If you are into metaverse and blockchain, you must be super familiar with Star Atlas. It's one of the hottest projects. It's not even launched yet they raised $200 million by only the power of community and selling NFTs. It's a game that looks hyper sexy and desirable, looking totally like Avatar, highest end Unreal Engine 5 nanite. It's a game about humans traveling different planets and then mining gold and other things and then coming back and sharing. It's a game about camaraderie and space exploration. And at Seyhanli, we did their mission statement film. I'm very proud of the 10 minutes. 10 minutes, yep. I'm very happy with the visuals, but the message for me is much more important than the visuals, because the message is the wisdom message that I've been talking about since the beginning. So enjoy, it's only 1.5 minutes.
I am Joni. I live among the northern stars. In your world, they do not exist. But in our minds, in this moment, we are connected. Are you listening? For the reality you know is an illusion, a figment, a thought experiment, an idea scribbled on the back of a cosmic napkin. Soon it will begin. New universes will arise, not from big bangs or distant stars, but from within you. From within you will come forth things the likes of which you have not dared dream. Stars and planets, and creatures that never were, worlds without beginning or end, ruled by love and light, where humanity can rediscover itself. Touch the face of time. Rise to the greatness you are capable of, unbound by the shackles of those whose power controls you. This is the metaverse. Here, at the confluence of what is and what is possible, the infinite nexus that is Star Atlas. Make ready. The great transcendence is upon you, upon all of us. Take my hand. The journey is about to begin.
It's a bit insane, I know, I'm aware. This is going to be only a 1-minute video. I just want to show you the broad variety of capacity you can do with AI art. I know that the former one was really insane visual experience. This film that is 1 minute, that is made in collab, it's a live action and AI art together. And it's for, I'm Turkish, and this is the biggest brand of my country, Beko. They're very big in Europe. If you're a soccer fan, they're also the main sponsor of FC Barcelona. So it's not a small brand. And this is their, together with this film that they announced their sustainability steps, what they are doing inside their company to make their products sustainable. And we're very lucky that this was our first film and we won the DNAD VFX in Emerging Realities. Just enjoy, it's a minute. The message for me is more powerful than the visuals.
When did we decide that we were above it all? As if nature were apart from us, when the connections are many. We are every blade of grass. We are every flower, every breaking wave, and seashell, every leaf. Every creature that has ever drawn a breath, or taken wing, or plied the depths. We think we aren't connected, but we are more than we will ever imagine. What happens to one happens to all.
I'm gonna skip this one. Yeah, another super cool example. This project is not launched yet, so just giving you a short peek. We developed this with the Russian artist Vadim Epstein. It's a visualization of time from Big Bang to Bitcoin, with all the inventions that humanity gave birth to, including electricity to the invention of wheel, abacus. We only have a few minutes, so I must move forward right now. This is the last project that I will show you. I'm not going to give too much because it's not launched yet, but currently at Seyhanli, together with very powerful few partners, we are aiming to launch a center for spiritual wisdom in every major city in the world. We are starting with Amsterdam. This is just a visualization. It's not going to look like that. But by saying that, I want to jump on the last few slides of our presentation, which is a 3-step action plan that we wrote for what we shall do as humanity. I think the fourth, like if we can include us, like establishing a center of spiritual wisdom in the core of every city, being one. I will go to the second, third, and fourth, but I would like to quote one of my favorite people alive, Russell Brand. I really hope to work with him one day because I really appreciate what he's doing currently. If we collude and collaborate together, we can design a new system that makes the current one obsolete. This is a journey we can all go on together, all of us. And we can include everyone and fear no one. He's talking about the law of one that we talked formerly. So one of the action plans involved establishing a wisdom council. I'm talking about a wisdom council that is above all governments, above all schools, that can monitor what the schools are teaching, that can monitor how healing is being conducted in hospitals, that can monitor what the governments are saying, to be able to. We still think that we have to conduct war to stop the war. We need a wisdom council to teach us about what peace really means. The other is to appoint a chief wisdom officer in every tech company. I'm very like, I'm gonna yell it until I have no voice. We're the one at Seyhanli, I hope there's another company that did that, but we're a technology company. And we have a chief wisdom officer. There's no project that goes out of our hands until it's read and verified by our teacher to make sure that we are not communicating something that is not beyond duality. And like the other 2 movies that we showed you are approved by our teacher, showing that they are in the service of the elation. The messages that we're giving is in the service of the elation and elevation of humanity. And the last one, all the Dao is the most popular word of this year and of South by, I think. DAOs and investment projects that unite people and bring them to nature.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Pinar.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
And we have, I think, 5 minutes for questions. So, like, the really urgent questions, please do. Go ahead.
One of your early slides was the different ages.
Yes.
Who's determining that?
Astrology, stars, universe.
Well, it's translated, of course, to language.
Yeah, there's a microphone if you guys have questions.
Thanks for the talk, super inspiring. Throughout the whole talk, I was thinking about DAOs and about how that could be a potential solution for a lot of the problems. At the end, you mentioned DAOs connecting humans with nature. I'm wondering if you had any consideration on how we could potentially do that.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. DAOs, I think, is one of the most brilliant technologies and like ways that humanity gave birth to in our capacity to unify and break down top-down systems. And how we can do that, like let's say that you're a game owner. Let's say that you own a game, you have a game. What do we do? Like I want to quote, I don't know where I heard that quote, but I once heard somebody talking to me about a quote by the guy who owns Netflix. He said, "I'm not competing with other channels, I'm competing with sleep." Like that doesn't sound very conscious to me. That doesn't sound very like a benefit for the elation and elevation of humankind to me. So if you were to be a game owner, I know that you're a company owner. So what does companies do? They make money. Like your chief return officer would be like, here is more return, more return, more return. But I would like to include the presence of, let's think about our game bringing people more to nature, because games can be so addictive. I mean, I know from firsthand, I can't stop playing if I'm onto it once. But if ever we're so addicted to technologies, then we totally lost our connection with nature. So I would like to call upon all game designers or anybody that is making DAOs about like a cyber life, digital life in all comprehension, to think about a place in your game or a place in your digital exploration where you invite people to come together in nature. Because then the whole marketing and the reality slides that we showed, then we will totally be lost in the oblivion of the metaverse. Did it answer your question? Okay.